So there's a couple in Connecticut that wanted to conceive a fourth child, but they were unable to do so. So they decided to pay a surrogate $22,000 to carry their child. They used an anonymous egg donor, and they used the father's sperm, and the surrogate signed a contract saying that she would be willing to carry the baby, and she would be willing to abort the baby if it had any birth defects or any developmental issues. Now, the surrogate is 29-year-old Kelley, and she discovered, along with the soon-to-be parents, that the fetus was having some serious issues. At the time, there were tests that indicated that the baby would be born with a cleft lip, a brain cyst, heart defects, and had a 25% chance of living a normal life.
So when I first heard cleft lip, I was like, okay, calm down, guys. You're going to get over it. But by the time you got through the brain defects and the heart defects and the 25% chance of living, see, that's why look, if it's your baby and it's under normal circumstances and you want to have it, well, that's why I'm pro-choice. Of course I want you to do whatever you think is right. But forcing other people, if they don't want to have that baby, to have that is crazy talk. Crazy. Now this situation gets a lot more complicated.
So the soon-to-be parents decided, you know what, we already have 2 children that have developmental issues. It's too difficult for us, and we would like the surrogate to get an abortion. Now, as I mentioned, this contract was signed in Connecticut, and the surrogate did agree that she would get an abortion.
So did she?
She did not. Now let me give you some more specifics on it because it's fascinating. The couple said, you know, please get an abortion. She said, no, it's against my religion. Well, why did you sign the contract indicating that you would get an abortion if the fetus had, abnormalities? Okay, so she's in the wrong already. But then the couple says, we'll give you $10,000. We don't want you to have this baby. And she says, $15,000.
Oh, come on. See, but then you lost all moral high ground because now you're negotiating. And she had done it in the first place for $22,000 to carry the baby to term. That was a contract. She says she needed the money. We understand that's why there's surrogates. But don't give me your religious reasons after you're haggling over how much for the abortion.
Now, she claims that she asked for $15,000, and before the couple could tell her, no, we're not going to give you $15,000, she had already changed her mind and said, no, I'm not going to get an abortion anyway.
Right.
Not buying that at all. Anyway, the couple decided to sue her because of the fact that she did sign that contract, and it was a breach of contract. And if you breach the contract, you have to pay the couple back the money that they paid you to be the surrogate. Well, at that point, Kelley went to Michigan. She moved from Connecticut to Michigan because as soon as she would do so, that contract would be null and void. Michigan will not honor that contract. They don't care about that contract.
So that's interesting. You know, they get into some states' rights issues, but basically she's seeking some sort of immunity in Michigan. This is not the right word for it, but Michigan says that. If you come here, we will protect you and you don't have to get an abortion. Okay. And then they get back into haggling. And then the lawyer at one point says, well, we'll take more money. And then meanwhile, tick-tock, tick-tock, they got to get to, if they get to 24 weeks, they can't have the abortion anyway,
exactly.
Right? So, but her lawyer asked for more money again. So I'm doubly not buying, oh, it wasn't about the money. Yep. I have all my religious reasons, etc. But I'll tell you what, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be controversial here, but even if it was for religious reasons, you signed a contract and it's not your decision, and you think you're doing the moral thing. I don't think you're doing the moral thing. I think you're doing an immoral thing. So, I mean, I don't like this she ran away to Michigan on it. I'm sure the pro-life people have benighted her. Oh my God, she's the greatest. She protected a life.
So she protected, okay, so she did protect a life, right? But at the same time, think about what this little girl is going to go through, because she was born with severe abnormalities and severe health problems, okay? And I'll get to those health problems in a second, but let me finish what happened with the rest of the story. So she goes to Michigan, she has the baby, and she decides, I can't take care of this baby, because she's a single mother herself. In fact, the reason why she wanted to be a surrogate was because she needed the money.
See, but that's mental. No, I won't have an abortion. I demand more money, and okay, you're not going to give it to me. I'm going to have the baby. Now, who wants it?
So she gave the baby up for adoption, and once the couple found out about that, they wanted to have parental rights with the baby. They wanted to bring the baby back to Connecticut. However, since that baby does not have the same, is not doesn't genetically belong to the wife in this situation because they used an anonymous egg donor. She has no rights.
So there's that extra twist. It turns out in the middle of all this, they find out that the mom isn't really the genetic mom. So it's the dad is the genetic dad. It's another egg donor. It's in a different surrogate mom. And then the final twist is the baby exists now, and it's incredibly hard to figure out whose baby it is, and a woman comes in to adopt.
Yes.
So she's the hero of the story, we all agree. I mean, her heart is so large to be able to take care of this kid when, you know, the surrogate who had her insisted on having her, doesn't want to take care of her.
Yeah.
The other parents didn't want her in the first place, but now they're, you know, trying to help the adopted mom actually try to raise her, at least see the baby a little bit. So they've got a good heart, if you ask me. Now, of course, the pro-life people won't agree. How dare you try to terminate in the first place?
I'm upset with the couple because of the fact that they already had 3 children. And I feel like if you can't conceive, but you still desperately want a 4th child, don't go through a surrogate. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I think that's overly judging. Look, you know, and look, your personal choice wouldn't be to do it.
No,
my
it
choice wouldn't be to do it, okay? But a lot of people, and they love kids, and they want to have more kids. And I understand.
Jeez.
But the surrogate cannot violate that contract, because it's not just a legal contract. There's a moral component to it. You sat down with that family and you agreed with them on how you were going to do this, and then you violated that trust.
Right, okay, so let me jump in because there's more. I actually hate the fact that the man in this situation doesn't seem to have any rights at all. He's obviously the biological father. It was his sperm. So if he wants to have, you know, if he wants to be the parent and he wants to have custody of this child, why can't he do that? Why is it only dependent on who the biological mother is?
Yeah, I find that outrageous.
Yeah, that's definitely outrageous. And you know, I told you guys I would let you know what all of the you know, health issues were. So let me just read that for you. She has a birth defect where the brain fails to completely divide into distinct hemispheres. She has heterotaxy, which means many of her internal organs, such as her liver and stomach, are in the wrong places. She has at least 2 spleens, neither of which works properly. Her head is very small. Her right ear is misshapen. She has a cleft lip and a cleft palate, and a long list of complex heart defects, among other problems.
How long is she going to live? And what quality of life is she going to have when her organs are all in the wrong places and she has to have surgery after surgery when she's a young baby? What are you doing? Like, you think you're being a decent person? That's not decent to that kid, to live that life where all it is a bunch of surgeries. I'm sure that the adopted mom, who sounds like the most terrific person you've ever met in your life, is trying to give her the best possible, you know, living environment, and she says she wakes up with a smile every day, and I believe her, right? But this isn't decent, if you ask me. And one last note here: who's going to pay for all that? You think the adopted mom has all that kind of money? Of course not. Okay, and I'm the bad guy, but we're all going to pay for a baby to live for how many months and go through how many painful surgeries for that baby, because the surrogate didn't get bribed enough.
Exactly.
And then so she had the baby incredibly selfishly and then decided not to take care of the baby. I mean, imagine if there wasn't a great person here who adopted the baby in the first place. And then she'd be in foster care. Come on, man. There are no bounds of reason here. And look, I know some of you think, life, 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 life. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I just want the life no matter what. And I want 10 billion, 20 billion, 100 billion people on the planet. I don't agree. I don't agree. You don't have to have every single life if you've got a kid who's clearly not going to make it, and all you're doing is putting them through pain.
And let me just clarify one thing. If you are the individual who got pregnant and it's going to be your child, you have the right to make that decision for yourself. But if you are a surrogate and your decision is going to severely impact the lives of the couple that you are being a surrogate for, well, then, you know, the situation changes significantly.
And by the way, so she does such great damage because now I think I don't want to use a surrogate, and I'm sure I'm not alone. Like, before I was open to it. I mean, we don't have an issue like that, but I would have been open to it. Now a lot of people are going to get scared and think, oh, well, the surrogate's, okay, the kid has 3 heads, but the surrogate's going to have it anyway because they're either some sort of pro-life zealot or they want more money and they're going to hold my kid hostage in their womb, you know, one way or another. So a lot of people won't use surrogates and they won't have babies. I hope you're happy about your pro-life position.